my beautiful sister. By the way, Sarah Sani has PhD in law. So she's a doctor of lawyers. So when lawyers sick, then they go meet them. They give them injection.
Thank you, dear. Although, let me correct something. No, I'm not a Canadian lawyer, not licensed here yet.
Oh, okay. So your PhD yeah. For Nigeria?
Yes, but licensed in Nigeria. So anyhow, we are all using common law systems. So we have similar background from the British. So
that's true.
Yeah, we all started our legal system is gotten from the British system. So it's still common law. So we have a lot of things in common. So I just want to mention a few things based on it's an interesting area. Basically, what I want to draw our attention to first is moral aspects and legal aspect of this issue. To the extent that I know. So on the part of morality, I would just have to say, first of all, she didn't display maturity of the mind in any way. And how do you display maturity of the mind? Your ability to control your emotions. So she was just carried away by her emotions and the state of her mind at that moment. Now, coming to the legal aspects, I see a lot of us saying she can toe the line of just going into defense of, mental depression or mental impairedness or whatever it may be. But it's easier said than done, because when you allege these things, you're not dealing with people, you're dealing with experts. So you have to prove it. Even according to the criminal code here, I think section 16, if I can read it out, so we just get a clearer
Please read it out.
It speaks for
my
itself,
sister.
And it will help everybody. Section 16 states, no person is criminally responsible for an act committed or an omission made while suffering from a mental disorder that render the person incapable of appreciating the nature and quality of the act or omission, or of knowing that it was wrong. Okay, you're not criminally liable if you can show that. Now, there's a clause under it, subsection 2. What does that say? Presumption. Every person is presumed not to suffer from a mental disorder. Generally, you are presumed not to suffer from a mental disorder, so as to exempt from criminal responsibility by virtue of section 1 until the contrary is proved on the balance of probability. Burden of proof. Let's go to how we prove it. There is a burden of proof. Who does the burden of proof lies on? It states in subsection 3. The burden of proof that an accused was suffering from a mental disorder so as to be exempted from criminal responsibilities on the party that raises the issue. So you're raising the issue that you have some form of mental disability or impairedness or depression. You have a burden to prove that. Now, the question is, how do we get to prove this? And whoever is investigating this, the investigation team or the justice system, would not just fold their hands when you just present such defense that, okay, you probably do not know what you're doing. Definitely, there's going to be, your history will be looked into, your medical condition will be looked into, there will be some form of psychological evaluation, there will be a whole lot of investigation that will take place that will see the trend of things with you. Of course, investigation can go into anything, and that's where I don't know whether it's the other guy or the lady that mentioned that they might even dig into other areas that you don't expect. So she's just thrown herself out there, like made herself so vulnerable for any form of other possible allegations that could come against her. So beyond the core issue, I don't want to mention the name, but we know what she probably will be charged for and the threats she's making out. She has further exposed herself to possible issues that could come up. So while alleging or while hiding under the defense of mental impairedness, she has to tread carefully with that as well, because you don't just throw things and people see things from the surface level like, oh, I'll just say I didn't know what I was doing. I think if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't just that one TikTok video she did. She had come online repeatedly. All these
And
things.
after that, even after that,
Subsequently, she came online too. So all these things will be dug out and they will be reviewed, they will be examined. Is she currently working? Presumably, she is working. They will look into her work history, her relationship with her colleagues, and everything will come together. What is the logical reasoning? How do you align the reasonableness of her action vis-a-vis somebody that ordinarily should be termed as medically or mentally impaired? Does her actions align with such? Because we are dealing with experts here and we come to decisions based on facts and evidence. So they both should align. And in the criminal justice here, they take their time. One of our friends here mentioned it. They take their time. There's no hurry. There's no rush. But they will come to the root of it. So it's unfortunate. I feel this should be like an eye-opener for most of us on how to manage our emotions in today's world, how we can make sure that we don't just move according to how even if you're not live, you could be talking with friends and somebody might just be recording. In today's world, everything is online, everything is being recorded. So if is we talked about her age. If at that age, at least over 40, I mean, you should be able to control certain things. If you feel HATERED for certain class of people, you should be able. Some people are not pleased by certain people. That's life. It's not everybody you would like.
yes.
But how you manage your emotions says a whole lot about you. And if you cannot manage your emotions such that you could come live and say such things, it means that it gives the government reasonable reason to think that
You're
you
a
are
threat
a threat
to the
to people
community,
around you.
society, everywhere.
Everywhere you go.
Yes.
So you won't blame them for whatever decision they would take
So
at
if you
the
get
end of.
small picking, they go come out the small picking.
Sorry?
I know.
I say if you get small picking, they go come out the small picking,
One
give people where they
time,
affected.
But
Exactly.
for you,
So
because I remember the day I went for, my eye checkup.
yeah.
And the lady was just twisting that, and I was playing along, yellow, black. I was just paparazzing, having fun. And then when she finished, she said, "You need the glasses." I said, I'm fine. She said, "Nope." Moreover, I said, "I have a child in the house. I have a 3-year-old, so she's at risk." So I needed the glasses. I used that from the beginning. She said, "No, that I need the glasses. I have a 3-year-old in the house. She's at risk. So I need the glasses to see very well." That's why I take back glass, so I don't want to.
But now you
So
see the wear the glass.
We are
so
waiting. As color designer, still another wear.
you don't
Hey, I mean, where I
use the
can't need
glasses.
glasses.
I just
I not can't see.
color designer. Make I use them now. They
They
do a
do
fizzy, but
yanga.
I know they wear them. But the thing I'm trying to say is that they will always see that you're a threat, and it does make sense. It makes
Yes,
sense.
it makes sense, even if you look at it logically, because you move around with other people, you go to public places, you cannot control your emotions. Do we need to? You're matured, you're way above the age of maturity. So what are we talking about? And the words, the what would I call it? The strength of the words that were used were just beyond
They were not
imagination.
mild at
They were
all.
not, they were strong words. So
Repeatedly.
repeatedly, and these things will be played. And while it's being played, even though some things were said in vernacular or not in
Baba
English,
person go
it
Of
will be
course,
translate
it's
give them.
interpreter.
it will be interpreted clearly.
And the funny thing is that she was on that life with a lot of people. They couldn't even caution her or try to call her mind back to what
They
she
were
was saying.
even kind
They
of,
were encouraging
They
her.
were
you
implicit,
know,
but God will talk say their
Good
own turn
friends.
never reach.
yeah.
God talk say
So,
their own turn never reach. Now he save them.
and it's possible that this kind of discussion has been taking place prior to now. All the history of the live shows and discussion on TikTok on that platform can be retrieved.
Oh yes.
The history of those things can be retrieved, and it's not, we cannot even say totally that those other people in the life would are free on their own. It's just that, like they say, now who they catch now in the thief.
Mm.
So
It's just a
whoever
group of people that came together to plan evil against society.
so whatever they are saying, they are either instigating the acts, supporting the acts. Either
Mm.
ways,
At the
they are giving
face.
their own, they are supporting such action, which makes them a threat as well.
Mm.
So it's really sad. It's a wake-up call for us to see that emotion is a strong thing, whichever way it comes, and your test of maturity is when you can control your emotions, especially
Mm. Mm.
in the heat of discussions like this.
And I
Mm.
beg you, people honestly need to take that woman seriously because let's say I know that woman in reality. I will distance myself from her. I will tell you I'm
Same
afraid.
here. Same here.
Anyone can use those words of hers against her. I'm afraid. I don't feel comfortable working with her because I'm from so and so place and these are her statements, these are her words, and that's it.
You're not just
I don't know why she
saying
was
you
safe.
want
I
to
mean,
you're not just saying you want to buy certain people, you're even stating the manner and approach with
mean,
which you want to buy them
yeah.
in such a manner that it should go through a slow and painful way
Bye.
of buying. It's sad. it's
Ah,
it's really
no, 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 no. I don't they see mumu people
personally,
for my life. I never see the one we reach like this.
I'm not jumping into conclusion, but I don't see any escape route. I don't foresee any escape routes, whichever pattern it wants to go. Because how do you want to prove this if you want to
Well, I
even
don't know
go
the
this?
people
I know there'll
involved. I
be
don't know people
there'll be
taking the case
other.
up, but they shouldn't stop.
Sorry.
So I don't know the people taking the case up, the people involved in this, but whichever tribe, people involved in it, they should make sure they don't stop. They should see to the root of it. I am
Yeah,
Igbo. I know they do tribe thing, but they should see to the root of this.
yeah.
Period.
Another aspect, DFI, another aspect that came up. I don't know if you saw it. Some people now started with bringing up another video that claimed triggered her reaction coming from the other group, another tribe that was saying something else, you know. So it was like, okay, but the question now is, does two wrongs make a right? Anyway, that video came up whereby some another set of people were saying things too against another set in similar lights. So I don't know how that would be any form of defense or basis for her to
And that might be
make such.
something that might help with provocation, establishing provocation.
Provocation is in there are facts. Sorry, there are factors to establish provocation. And one of those is the
Premeditation.
premeditation, the instantaneous reaction to it. It's not something, provocation is not something that happens now, then you now take your time and plan and respond to it. So
Mm.
the spontaneous nature with which you respond is still part of the factors. There are underlying factors that you must prove to establish that. Some of these things are easier said on the surface level. But when it comes to proving it in court, you start saying that there are other ingredients. Exactly, that's the word I was looking for. There are
Mm.
ingredients you need to prove. Do you have all those ingredients put together, cooked to perfection, to
Mm.
satisfy any judge or jury? These are the questions.
Mm.
But irrespective, she'll have a lawyer. A lawyer will always do their job, even if she doesn't have. Of course, there will be legal aid. We'll always do
Mm.
our job and see
The pro bono lawyers are there. free of charge.
Yeah.
Booze. Those pro bono
So
lawyers, the sabi same person go prison.
there's some good ones though.
That's all. Now you was passed now. That you freeze.
Exactly.
One of my guys, they tell me story of how they want go, they get case. Now so they go bring Niger lawyer, say na their paddy, na their guy. They say by the time the guy finish with their case, they bundle them go prison.
Wow.
See na pro bono lawyer for America, we can't save them last.
Wow.
See the guy, na my guy. You know that kind of thing. Somebody, I know one guy. No worry, just trust the guy. Na my guy. Now so they go bring my guy come. My guy go they talk nonsense for God. They slam their mama.
It's not easy. It's a very serious issue. If I'm her family member or her spouse, I'll be really concerned.
They say she don't get husband for house.
She don't get sister.
Femi Aderogba, the freshest PhD student.
Good evening.
Our professor. Oh yeah, Femi, Mo, hear your own.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I've actually listened to all sides regarding the subject matter, and I can see that they've made a lot of justification to the matter. I want to appreciate our doctor of law that brought, the law perspective to the subject matter, and I want to appreciate our nurse giving the mental health perspective to the subject matter. But I think that
politician that has come to clear the air and make everybody happy. Very well put.
And I think I'm going to just offer brief political details to that as well. I think all the were actually coming from political perspective. Some group, we know them, want to mention support. 4 years will be 4 years. Some group supporting, we will remove instantly. All these things were the ones that were actually coming into play. However, we need to understand that when we are playing politics, we should not actually play politics of bitterness. It's very important that politics of bitterness should not be encouraged in our generation. Before that, we should know that Atiku, Obi, and Tinubu, they were once friends for one reason or the other. Either they are friends or by association. We should understand that it's because they want something. That's why they are going in different areas just to achieve their goal. We that we are their supporter, we can always hear our opinion without even having a trend, without even hearing our perspective from a full angle. And number two, I think we should also manage the way we relay history to our children. I think one of those issues there is that the way some people are actually, bringing perception to the Igbo Biafra history, how they claim Yoruba was actually the betrayer, and how Yoruba play a role in not allowing Obi to win last election was also another thing that is causing difference in thought. And that is why you see that, because I made a social experiment. Let me give you the social experiment. Now, everybody knows that I'm for Atiku. Everybody knows that. But that there is a post regarding the policy of Tinubu, and I have reason to even disagree with that policy intentionally. Before you know it, by saying, oh, what Tinubu did was wrong, before you know it, I will just get 5 or 10 comments that will say, now Yoruba man you be, now good for you. You should even be suffering. Then I will ask, how is my comment, how is it related to, and how is it not related to I'm Yoruba? I made my scientific comment. You can without putting tribe to it. That's number one, social experiment. Number two, social experiment I made that anytime mention, I will say it's best for Peter Obi to even come back to PDP, and so that he can join force with Atiku to remove Tinubu. If you check that comment again, you will still see that some people will say, oh, you're a bad boy, you are a religious, what's it called, tribal by God. You are talking from tribal of a thing. Then I will now look at it. What is so bad? If making a policy and I'm saying that policy is good or is not good, how is that a Yoruba thing? If I am saying, there was even a time today I had not posted made a particular post that among these three, Jonathan, Obi, and Tinubu, who should we select? I said I prefer Jonathan. Is Jonathan a Yoruba man? Before you know it, many people just commented on that thing and making it look like a tribal war. So what am I saying? What I'm saying here is that it appears that they've binarized of some people in social media. Whenever they see a Igbo guy, they against Yoruba. Whenever they say a Yoruba guy, they believe is actually against Igbo. It's high time we learn how to coexist on this social media space. We can differ politically, but we should all know we are united. We still have our social identity, which is being a Nigerian. That social identity is strong enough to make us to understand that regardless of our differences, regardless of where we are coming from, regardless of our tribe, regardless of the story our parents has actually told us, we should ensure that we are doing three things consecutively. We are learning, we are relearning, and we are unlearning. We are learning new methods to coexist on social media. We are unlearning things that they told us that is untrue, and we are relearning new things that can actually make coexist. I think if all people, everyone start learning from that woman and other people who are talking on social media, they can start learning from the mistake, and they put learning, relearning, and unlearning in front of social media. I think the social media actually be a bit nice. At the time, we wouldn't be playing a piece of fairness.
Nice
I kind
one.
of agree with that. I kind of agree with that because this has consistently shown us that we are not really ready for democracy. I've personally never believed in democracy. I think it's a very flawed type of governance where you believe that you have a right that you don't actually have. My thoughts, my opinions, I've never liked it. And I also had my issues with the tribal undertones of the last election.